Hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much for granting this interview. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
It seems as if you've been doing a lot of collaborating with women, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And in Ringmaster General, you collaborate with Alison Krauss and Joss Stone and Orianthi, and they're all very different kinds of artists.
Yeah.
So how does that work? And
Yeah, well, I do collaborate a lot. I'm kind of known as a collaborator. Even though on my albums I tend to write all the songs myself usually. So on the Ringmaster General, you know, I sang as a duet, Drowning in the Blues with Alison Krauss, but I'd already written it myself. But I imagined Alison's, you know, dreamy voice, and I kind of envisioned, you know, I used a sort of power of visualization or something, and it was an incredible moment for me when she arrived, you know, with her viola and to sing and play on it. But for instance, Joss Stone I'd been working with since she was about 16 or 17, when Mick Jagger and I did the the score for Alfie, and Mick and I wrote a song called Old Habits Die Hard, which won the Golden Globe. But there's a couple of songs on the Alfie soundtrack where I got Joss to actually sing the original, you know, the song Alfie, and then a duet with Mick that Mick and I wrote called It's Gonna Be Lonely Without You This Christmas. So she was very, very young then. And so, you know, over the years I would meet and we kind of became friends without, you know, actually writing or doing anything. And then, you know, we collaborated together, and I asked her if she wanted to be in Super Heavy, the band, and then I made a solo album, wrote all the songs, produced the album with her, called LP1, and since then we've been working on another album. So Joss is a much longer relationship than Alison Krauss, which was on that one song. Orianthi is similar to Joss, you know, we've played together lots. I first met her when I was sort of the organizer or the MD of the Stand Up to Cancer concert, which was a telethon, and, you know, with loads of different artists, Stevie Wonder and everybody, and Orianthi was on guitar and I was on the other guitar. And we became friends, and for ages we were just friends. We used to just jam together around my house. And then slowly we started, we wrote a song, and then we invented, you know, some other kind of bluesy music, and that turned into making an EP and then an album. And now we've written a story that's going to be an animated feature. And so I suppose collaborating is less like a record label or somebody putting people together in a room in a grey box. It's more just a natural, organic way of, for me anyway, of meeting people that you get along with, and a kind of friendship turns into, you know, doing something creative, which is more natural.
And you know, you produced Stevie Nicks' album, and you wrote some songs with her.
Mm-hmm.
She's a pretty big presence. I mean, and a force. I mean, she's survived. I mean, and how do you work with someone like that? I mean, do you walk in and say, "All right, Stevie, this is what we're going to do," or I mean, do you tell her what to do? I mean, how does that?
I think with every artist that I'm working with, there is no telling the artist what to do, or vice versa. It's a little bit like you know, kids in a sandbox or whatever. Once the barrier is down of, like, you know, the first meeting or whatever, or the first 10 minutes, it's the way you present yourself very early on, I think, with everybody in life, whether it's a taxi driver or the guy who's come to fix your, you know, plumbing or your internet, or somebody come to do an interview. The way you make them feel is going to affect the rest of your experience with that person. So I like to make people feel that anything is possible, and, you know, there are no adults here or police or whatever. Like, we can do anything. And if we don't like it, we can throw it away. So that immediately, you know, there's a sigh of relief from most artists who feel under massive pressure to deliver something immediately, especially if you're walking into a collaboration with somebody and you haven't really met them before. They're like, how's this going to work? But as soon as you like that, they go, oh, this is going to work easy. I can do whatever I want. And, you know, and so that's how it works with Stevie Nicks, you know. I didn't realize till about the second or third song that we were writing that she'd never sat down and written a song with anybody before in her whole life. She'd only ever, you know, worked from a CD somebody gave her or written songs on her own, you know, like Fleetwood Mac. She wrote all the songs that are Stevie Nicks on Fleetwood Mac. She wrote herself, you know, from Rihanna or whatever. On her last album, In Your Dreams, I think we co-wrote about 7 or 8 of the songs. And they just came flowing out because she was feeling really good about everything. She was relaxed and she was enjoying the process.
You have performed with some of your family members. Kaya was at the Troubadour with you, and in a situation like that, I mean, did she say, "Hey, Dad, I want to be a rock star"?
No.
Do you promote it?
Kaya's a really great sort of typical just turned 13-year-old girl, you know, who loves singing. She's always loved singing since she was about 2 or 3 and playing the piano. She used to write songs when she was about 4 or 5. And so it's just natural for her that she just wants to sing. And she's been, you know, when I was on tour with Sugarland, she got up and sang in front of, I don't know, 12,000 people or something. Just came on stage and sang. But as soon as she's off stage, she's just back to being, you know, a regular kid and enjoying, you know, all the things that other kids do. So there was no harm in that. She, at my last gig at the Troubadour, Kaya came on as the opening act and sang 3 songs. And she had really good fun. She had her friends there from school. And then it was really funny afterwards. They all just playing like kids again, you know. So, you know, I think the best thing is not to sort of thwart somebody's enthusiasm, but it's also the best thing not to sort of put pressure on them to become, you know, an artist or a great singer or whatever. Just let it be, you know, like she loves singing, great, you know, then there's a little piano in her room and she can sing away. And oh, she wants to record something now, okay, like there's a microphone, you have to work it out yourself. So she managed to record and work out how to put something up on her, you know, just piano and voice on GarageBand, and just always be there if she needs help.
That's great. I've listened to your album a lot, Ringmaster General, this last one, and it's very bluesy and very raw and very country. And Nashville, you recorded it in Nashville?
I recorded it in Nashville, same as the one before, the Blackbird Diaries, with the same players. And it's kind of, yeah, country bluesish. Funny enough, you see, when I arrived in Nashville and started to make my first album, the Blackbird Diaries, I realized, oh, I've gone right back to when I was about 16, playing sort of blues and folk music, folk blues they used to call it at that time, up in the northeast of England. And what I realized was this was very similar to the way these guys in Nashville would approach playing along. So I felt suddenly at home, and they just automatically just, oh yeah, he's writing these kind of songs, we understand this, so they could play it really easily. It wasn't like 2 worlds colliding, you know.
You think big picture, you think big picture as far as it's not just the music, it's the movie, there's so much that goes along with it now. Social media, I was sat in with the Grammys, it was a panel at the Grammys, and social media is such an important part of music now. And you like social media, you're up there.
Well, you know, I've always been interested in imagery and photographs and making little films and stuff, you know, from way back. In fact, all the early Eurythmics experiments, you know, was actually filming with 8mm cine cameras and writing film scripts to be made into videos like Sweet Dreams and stuff. So when the internet came along and social media, I was just like, oh, this is another sort of playground. There's a lot of people see it as like, oh my God, I've got to do this. For me, it's just like a sort of game that you can, it's, you know, it's like, oh, there was basketball. Oh, now there's volleyball. You know? And so, yeah, I quite enjoy it because obviously I have so much stuff that I can slowly feed out there because I take photographs all the time, or people take photographs of shows, and I'm doing so many different projects that I suppose, say for instance, my Facebook site is quite interesting because if you were to follow it, you'd see, oh, didn't realize he was working on that, or I didn't realize he did that. Oh, and now he's launching this. It's not the same over and over and over. You know, some people's sites, they kind of like a broken record because they're just repeating the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I quite enjoy it.
Kind of a modern day Renaissance man, and where you're not just, you know, you just playing songs, writing songs, producing for others. You're looking at other media, which is...
Yeah, I think a lot of creative people, you know, they're usually really interested to the point of obsessed with certain things, whether it's, you know, old cars, or it could be about Mississippi blues, or it could be about cooking. You usually find they have a lot of things that they really love, as opposed to millions of things they just are semi-interested in. And so that's the same goes for me, you know. I'm really love certain things, so I dive deeply all the way into them, and then the other things are out there, but I'm not just changing channels on the TV all the time looking for something to entertain me. I'm so busy with the things that I'm really interested in. And I think this is what's going to come more and more into our world, is these niche programming, or people putting together. You can already see it in things like Pinterest or whatever, like somebody's nuts about Harley Davidson, somebody else is nuts about French singers from the 50s, and they've gathered all this stuff about it, and it goes back to the days when people used to collect, you know, baseball cards or stamps or whatever. But what's great at the moment is, you know, this collection of video or audio and putting it all in one place, like a tastemaker. It kind of, for people sometimes, it's a little bit like an identity, like, you know, you used to go to school, maybe I did, carrying, you know, a Bob Dylan album under your arm, and then other people would go, he likes Bob Dylan, so do I think I'll talk to him. Somebody else is walking to school with a Deep Purple album under their arm, and that's like a different set of people are all discussing. It's tribes, you know. Tribes are drawn towards each other by similar things that they're interested in. So if you look at the internet, it's just broken up into tribes that are obsessed with certain areas, and I find that sort of interesting. And for me, there's amazing sort of blogs out there that have, some of them are just great writers, and the other ones have collected really interesting stuff and put it all together on their blog, so you don't have to go out and look for all these things. This person's actually done it. And you know, the thing is, there's so much stuff out there, it's like it's enough to do anybody's head in, you know, like, so it's quite good when you really admire somebody's taste and you trust them and they've dragged it all into one place, as opposed to being, you know what it's like if you just Google something and you Google Cat Stevens, you end up with loads of things about cats, lots of people called Stephen, lots of people doing cover versions in their bedroom of Cat Stevens songs, and you're going, yeah, but where's Cat Stevens, you know?
We're just starting a new thing with Ellenwood. We want to talk to some of our musicians about what gear they use and why, and what's their favorite gear.
One of the favourite things at the moment is just being moved, Ned. Where did it go, that black Yamaha thing? Yeah, I'll show it. And this is one of my favourite things at the moment. And there was another one, but I've left it at home. It's the orange Micro Terra tiny little lamp. That's the speaker there. This is a great thing made by Yamaha. And the reason why I love it is it's kind of small with a great sound, but it also has a way in which you can plug in from your iPod or your laptop, whatever record you want to play along to. And so you can just play along to learn something really quick, all coming out, instead of having it coming out of there and an amp there. And then it's got built-in effects, you know, so just, you know, for your dressing room or on a bus or at home, you can like have this great sound with a bit of delay and a bit of sort of bluesy sound, and then you can also have a record playing along. You can have headphones, or you can mic it up and, you know, record it on your master record, or you can have a direct line out. It's got all the things you need really to have lots of fun. But it's
Yamaha makes it?
Yamaha makes it, and it's just like this shape and size.
Oh, that's great.
Did you see it on there? I couldn't tell if it was good.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay.
That's great. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
It's just really wonderful.
Thanks.